How many people are here to a Bashar session for the first time? Okay. Thank you very much for coming. The one thing I usually say before we get started is just to let you know, the new people know, that Bashar does present himself as an extraterrestrial consciousness, but there's nothing about that that insists that you have to believe he is who we say he is. I have my own experiences to validate what's going on, but the most important thing we focus on in these interactions is the information that comes out itself. So if the information is something that you find works for you, then apply it in your life as you see fit. If it doesn't, then you'll get what you need somewhere else. So bottom line here is just to have fun and listen to the information and see if it's something that makes sense to you.
Say good day to you, each and every one of you, this day of your time. How are you? Allow us to begin this interaction with something a little bit different than we normally discuss. More often than not, we usually discourse upon ideas and perspectives that have to do with your creation of your reality, your emotional states, your mental states, your balancing, your spirituality, and so forth. Today will be a little bit more technical of a talk, because now is the time to depart to you some information that some individuals are ready to experiment with now. First of all, did you enjoy your time of eclipse? Allow it again to be seen as a time of transition, though there are many such events that occur upon your planet. You can recognize that the degree to which this has captured your attention is an opportunity to recognize it as symbolizing a time of introspection and release. A time of coming out from behind the old ideas and shining forth anew, taking new steps in new directions. However, today, because of this transition, because now there are many more degrees of willingness in your consciousness collectively and individually to look at yourself in new ways, by certain individuals at least, we can now depart information that will allow you to begin to take certain kinds of baby steps, as you would say, with a new understanding of how to utilize a new level of technology. So we will entitle this interaction, before we begin with question, Space-Time Travel. Now, many of you have recently observed that much of your literature, and especially your film art form, has dealt with stories that depict various forms of space-time travel. And many of you have asked, well, is time travel really possible? What about all the paradoxes that are created by traveling back in time? So that if I do this and change history, then it is not the same. What happens to me? All of these various notions of time travel in your minds have brought up different questions of how these things are possible, how they can work together, how these incidents can be viewed in a logistical manner. We will explain it this way. Understand that yes, time travel is possible, but it is not what you think it is. You have a tendency to think that when you travel back in time, that you're actually traveling back into your own time stream. This is not the case. There are an infinite number of parallel realities. Many of them are almost identical to what you would recognize as your day-to-day reality, both figuratively, physiologically, and historically. At first glance, there would seem to be almost no difference whatsoever. But what you can understand is that if you create a device whereby you allow yourself to travel back in time, what you're actually doing is sliding across to a different time track altogether. It is not your reality. There are many parallel tracks, and you can enter them at what would appear to be different stages in their history, different stages in their evolution, past, present, or future. So that if you then physically appear in what you would call a past scenario, one of your own past scenarios, you're actually not literally in your own past. You're in a parallel reality, and just the fact that you are there means you can create whatever history, you can participate in creating whatever history you wish to for that reality. You will not have changed the future of your reality. You will have created the future you desire in another parallel reality altogether. This is the way the idea of multiple universes and parallel realities are structured, holographically in many different directions. You are simply sliding from one track to another, not ever really going back or ahead, literally. But you can experience that sensation because many of the realities are so close that where you wind up would seem to be a direct continuation of either your own present, your own future, or your own past, so that you can, in effect, feel that you have created a change or continued a continuity to a conclusion that you would prefer it to be in the direction of. Now, why do we say all this? Because we will also now at this time impart to you some of the understanding of the actual technology that will create this. Many of you, again, have discussed and asked us, wow, we like your spacecraft, we think they are nifty. How can we build one in our technology? And we have discussed many different approaches to you. But now we will discuss the most basic idea, that which you are not really ready for, but now you are ready to begin to explore. Very simple it is, very simple indeed. However, first I will mention that some of the techniques that we have already given to people had an underlying motive to them. Primary among the reasons for the sharing of certain technological information up to this point has been to allow us to view not so much your expertise at putting together the technical, physical elements, but to watch the degree of intention and precision of consciousness and awareness and clarity and technique, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, that you put into the pursuing of the technological side of those things. Because many times we dispensed information and it was only half-heartedly pursued. This to us was more of a revelation than anything you could have ever discovered by actually combining the physical components. And what told us that you are not necessarily ready to understand the more simpler, fundamental techniques. A great deal of conviction, integrity, and alignment is necessary when pursuing these ideas, because they will shift you into other dimensions. And if you're not centered within your own being, you may find yourself quite, as you say, out of whack if you give yourself an opportunity to shift your focus before you are ready to. We do not wish that to happen to you. We do not wish you to experience negative things in that way. It is up to you, of course, should you decide to create them that way, but we will do the best we can to ensure that that is the least likely occurrence that will happen. So we do provide bits of information from time to time that function as, if you wish, tests, to see not only if you understand the technical side of it, but to see if you understand the emotional side of it, the consciousness side, and understand that there is no separation, between the building of the device and how you go about building the device. That they are one and the same thing, that the end is the means, and there is no separation between these apparently differentiated concepts. Now, You have observed very often that our spacecraft, though this can change, this can differ, both for the purpose of function and from civilization to civilization, but for the most part they will appear disc-like. You have called them saucers. Usually this will be disc-like in the sense of two inverted, shallow domes joined at the rim, forming a shell. What some of you know, what some of you don't know, is that generally speaking, joining these two shells in the center from top to bottom will be a pole, which is basically a hollow tube, although there are some sophisticated devices that can be attached within it and to it to amplify its effect. We will not get into those other devices now, for they are not necessary to understand the principle. Suffice it to say that you have this hollow shell with this tube in the center. Now, what I am about to describe involves no real moving parts, per se. Not really. It is a solid state craft. And there are four components aside from the physiological that are necessary for the functioning of this craft. But these four requirements are simply states of energy. Visualize this. You have this shell, this flying saucer. You generate from the center of this craft, from within the power pole, a toroidal ring of energy, electromagnetic energy. Toroidal being a donut. So imagine an invisible, or for the purpose of your visualization, a semi-invisible donut of energy, whose center point is at the center of the craft, top and bottom, and the donut of energy surrounds the craft, envelops it. If you were to cut this donut and the craft edge through, you would see the craft and this donut forming two rings around the craft, going all the way around the outer edge, coming back into the center, top and bottom. Now the four states, pay attention, the four states that are necessary are frequency, direction of the flow of the toroid in two directions, that's 2 and 3, and power level, or what you might call amplification. The frequency that it is necessary for this donut of energy to vibrate at is 333,000 cycles per second. That's one. If you picture this donut of energy, it will make a difference in terms of what the craft does and where it goes in two ways. One, the donut of energy can either be created in a rotational format to go around the craft clockwise or counterclockwise. It can be created in the other axis to go either from top around to the bottom or from bottom around to the top as it moves, counterclockwise or clockwise, or stays perfectly still. These things determine how the craft moves, in what direction. Now the idea of jumping, as you say, from one reality to another, the isolation field effect that allows a craft to identify with all realities so that it can instantaneously jump from one reality to another without traveling the intervening distance, is the power level itself of the field. For if it is vibrating at 333,000 cycles per second, it will have the tunneling effect if the power output exactly balances and matches the total energy contained in the mass of the craft. That's why some of you have discovered or heard rumors that the shells of our craft are very thin, unbendable, unbreakable, but very thin. That is because we do not wish to add more mass than is necessary. Thus you will find that you will not have to achieve great deal of power to overcome the mass of the craft, the mass of the occupants, but it must be necessary to balance it. Therefore, you can understand that our spacecraft are actually more like resonating chambers than they are actual propulsion vehicles. They resonate and ring like bells, in a sense. Some of you have heard these vibrations as the craft may have passed by. Sometimes they are silent. It will depend upon how the resonances of our craft are interacting with the resonances of your planetary electromagnetic field. But this is really all there is to it. They are resonating chambers. That's it. You can begin your experimentation this way by also understanding, and you can apply this in a number of ways, that 333,000 cycles per second is the threshold vibration between your physical reality and fourth dimensional non-physical reality. So that 333,000 cycles per second is also a vibration that is primary to you creating devices that will allow you to communicate directly with both auditorily and visually with what you call the astral realm, the spirit realm, the non-physical beings that still are connected to your reality, that which you call deceased spirits. That is the vibrational threshold. Take this information and play with it. It is time now to begin to understand that things are far simpler than you ever thought in terms of achieving great and profound effects. Have a good time. Have fun. Be cautious, be clear, be insightful. Maintain integrity. And all integrity really means is that your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions should be simply aligned in the same direction. Your conviction, your intention can move straight ahead with your desire and your will and your spirituality. All of these are one and the same. Different manifestations of one and the same consciousness. Intention, desire, will, spirit, integrity, consciousness. All the same. Have a good time. At this time, we extend to you once again our deep appreciation at being allowed to interact with your world this way. This is a gift to us, to be allowed to see you, to see the differences in you, to see the similarities in you, between your civilization and our civilizations. We thank you for this opportunity. We always enjoy these interactions. And in return for the gift you have given us, I ask you now, in what way may we be of service to you? First, sharing. Question. Step right up and be bold and share with all present.
In the early 60s...
Can you all hear this person? Speak up and be bold into the amplification device.
In the early 60s and in 1950s, there were a lot of sightings of UFOs in the Tahunga area, and it was considered a flap area.
A flap, yes.
Do you know...
We were not flapping, but it was considered a flap, yes.
Can you expound on that, what they were?
Your Tahunga area in your California state is a very highly magnetically charged area. There is a very strong gateway, a very strong doorway, a very strong vortex in that area that makes it easier for certain dimensions of consciousness to move from one dimension to another. These things will fluctuate from time to time and will depend greatly not only on the consciousness of the earth, but the consciousness of those people visiting and the consciousness of the people that exist, that inhabit the area. There will be, from time to time, these flaps or influxes or inpourings of consciousness in various forms from one dimension or various dimensions into your dimension, in that and many other areas. But your Tahunga area is a very highly magnetically charged area, thus making it more conducive for certain types of craft and certain types of consciousness to bridge the doorways that allow them to go from one dimension to another. You understand?
Yes. Will there be more activity? It seems as if the
It has tapered off.
Yes.
Yes. There will be more, but not for a few more years, perhaps 2 or 3. There will be then an increase in that area, and there will be, even beginning now, a few more sightings, but not primarily for 2 or 3 more years in that area. Then there can be some very strong interactions that will take place in that area once a recognition is made of exactly in what way the rocks in that area are magnetic. A suggestion would be to go and feel that area, your Tahunga area, your upper North Valley area, all of the rocks that look like they belong in what you would call your southwestern desert look that way for a reason. And they are very highly magnetically charged and connected to many other vortices in and around your western United States. To go and feel those energies out, to become more accustomed to them, to align your energy to them, will make you more susceptible to any interactions that will, shall we say, bleed through into that area in the years to come. Does this help you?
Yes. I'm wondering what purpose the southwestern stone or rock, what is the purpose for it to be there in that way?
To make a connection specifically to certain other areas. It is an indication that you have literally an outcropping, a projection of other kinds of vortices that normally exist in other places in the world, all concentrated in that one area. In a sense, it could be said that it was designed to allow the locals to touch base with others at a greater distance. This had great significance to your Native American population in allowing them to remain in touch with each other magnetically, telepathically, even though they ranged across the entire western expanse of your United States at first. Allow there to be settlements because of the kind of outcrops that they identified with that were magnetically charged in various places. You understand?
I didn't quite understand the last thing you said.
The idea of having that outcrop there, magnetically charged in the way it was, allowed them to be in touch in various places even though they were not in proximity, even though they were remote from each other, having a little bit of home in various places of the same configuration and magnetic charging allowed them to be in touch. You understand?
Telepathically?
Telepathically through the electromagnetic field that is generated by those rocks, because the vibration in those rocks is very similar and is synchronized to the vibration in the rocks in many of the southwestern desert areas of your southwestern United States. You understand?
Yes.
So if you are in that area in a meditational state, you're actually mentally in touch with many of the individuals in a similar state of meditation in those southwestern states. It is like a local office, if you wish to put it that way. Does that help you?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Also, it is one of the primary points, one of the primary areas first touched, first settled by the remnants of Lemurian civilizations. Understand?
Yeah.
Does that help you?
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Next sharing.
Greetings, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I was very interested last session when you started talking about the spaceship and that the beam of light or energy that came in from the top was intention.
The beam of intention, yes.
Yes, and you have talked a little bit more about that this time, but I'm very curious, is there any difference between intention and will? You said...
Not much, no, not
much.
really.
And when people...
Your intention, your will, they are very much the same thing. When they are blended with the understanding of spirit, they are in balance. When you understand that what you call divine will and your own will are one and the same, then you are in balance and integrity. And intention simply then follows that what you desire, you do.
And do people have many intentions or a main?
One at a time.
One at a time.
One intention at a time. You are one reality at any moment. Whatever the combination of definitions might be within that reality, it is all one general intention. But you can bring all of those definitions down to a focus so that all of the definitions are one and that there is one with the intention. That is simply the word focus. You understand?
Yes. I've used the word intention to explain the way a mother communicates to a child or teaches them a language. The mother intends to communicate, the child intends to learn. Other than that, there's no physical mechanism that exists to do that. That it's really the intention. Is that an...
In a sense, yes. Although there is no need to limit it to that concept.
Right.
Intention is how you live life.
And
the idea being, as many of you have already pointed out by example, that if you truly have the true intention to do something, you simply reach out and do it. You could say, in a sense, that intention is the reaching out. It is not the contemplation of, as many of you interpret the word intention to mean. It is the doing of the thing. It is the action that supports the desire, that supports the will, the intention. It is a focus, it is a stream, it is a movement, it is an action. What you intend, you do. It is a recognition, a realization, a revelation, and then an action.
Yes. I guess I'm still trying to connect intention with communication of intention. Can one read another's intention? Can they feel?
Yes. More often than not, you will actually be more clearly able to read another person's intention, no matter what it is they may say.
Okay, that's what I'm after.
Intention is the vibration itself of what you're all about. All the combination of definitions that you carry within you and what you do with that.
I've felt what might be called an autism, an inability to speak, basically because...
Within whom?
Within myself, okay?
You seem to be doing quite fine now.
Basically because it feels like what you're really trying to communicate is your intention.
But intentions are best communicated by action.
Yes.
That is why, again, you understand it is more clear to watch what people do rather than what they say. Because what they do is representative of their intention.
Yes.
Not what they say. Although you can align what you say with what you do. Then you are aligned in spirit and will. But very often you will find that there may be negativity in spirit or negativity in will that will allow your communication to be out of balance with your intention. And fear may be the reason for that imbalance. But the idea again is to pay attention to the intention of the whole vibration of the person, of the consciousness. And also one of the easiest ways to do that is to simply see what they do. And one of the easiest ways for you to express intention is to do what you desire to do with integrity.
Can you not know consciously exactly what your intention is, but know it unconsciously?
An interesting question. Can you not know what your intention is? You can, in a few circumstances, generate so much fear and doubt that you can block the knowledge or awareness of your intention. However, I will say that 99.9% of the time, even though you may not be willing to admit it or communicate it, you know what your true intention is, even if you doubt your ability to do it.
I see.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does. I have two images that have come to me lately with, I would guess, some meditation.
All right.
One is called the monk, and the other is the lizard pope.
All right.
These images mean something to me, and I felt that they were in some way connected to the feeling of autism. Is there anything that you can tell me about those two images?
Yes. From our perspective, your concept of the lizard pope is a mixture of ancient symbols of wisdom and knowledge and the dispensation of that information to the public. One caught up in a more ancient ritual of direct communication with nature, and one intertwined with the concept of religion and separation from nature. The idea of the monk, again, also is twofold. The idea intertwined with the religious aspect being the suppression and the secretization of knowledge, the hiding away, the cloistering of knowledge, and the other, the meditative, hermetized, contemplative version that goes inward to find the true center and source of knowledge so that it can be lived and therefore shared. Both of these express the polarity of positive and negative with regard to the dispensation of information or the suppression of information, which on some levels is represented by the concept of autism, which is a highly focused idea in one area and a suppression of information in all other areas. You understand? Autism, in a sense, is also very strongly representative for you of the whole concept of intention, because you can say that autistic individuals exhibit an extreme degree of intention in one bandwidth. This can be done along a wider spectrum. All it takes is centering, balancing, love, and complete unconditional self-acknowledgement. Understand?
I'm trying to understand these concepts.
All right. Let it soak in slowly.
Okay. And is there any other thing that I can do that would be helpful to understand these concepts?
I'll always take it back to the basic. Thank you. Are you doing what excites you in life?
Yes.
With full intention?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Then you will bring into your path everything you need to show yourself and every opportunity that you need to act upon. Thank you very much. Next, sharing.
Hello, Bashar.
And good day to you.
Good day.
Speak up and be bold so that all may share what you have to say.
All right. I have a couple of questions. The first is that as a psychic healer, for years when I scan people's bodies, I notice something, you can call it energy field or a beam that's going into bodies, and I'll trace it back on many occasions. I'll trace it back to UFO or an extraterrestrial, and I find that when people are having physical problems like pains in certain areas, when I remove the beam, the pain goes away. And I've been told that some of these are implants, and I've been told that they're negative, and I was wondering, I wanted you to explain to me, maybe, I don't know if that's what it is, if there is such a thing as an implant, and why an extraterrestrial or UFO would want to put beams into people on this planet.
A, yes, there are implants. B, they do not occur with many civilizations, in fact, very few. Understand that there are many, many, many civilizations out here. Not all of us are aligned in our point of view. Do not necessarily always think of us as one big happy club. There are many with their own agendas, even though we have an association of worlds, and in that association we are basically in alignment. There are many who are not a part of that. There are many who are forming their own agreements with your civilization and interacting with your civilization in a various number of ways. The idea of some of the things that have been happening to some of your species members that may seem on the surface to be uncomfortable, painful, negative, are interactions with some of these other species, some of these other races. They have their own agendas, their own things they wish to learn. Some of the discomfort simply comes from misunderstanding. Some of the discomfort comes from an inability of one species to really be able to identify, even on what you would consider the most basic level of similarity with each other. Some of the discomfort comes from being forced to face certain aspects of your own consciousness that you may not yet be ready to face. Some of the beams in that sense can also be considered implants, not physiological ones, although those exist, but implants in the sense that adjustments were made in a person's energy to allow them to look at certain things. Now, they can be painful sometimes because perhaps the energies going through certain chakras or energy gates in the body are pouring more energy through that gate than the person may be used to handling. And so it may be painful for a while until they can adjust to it. It is not a negative thing necessarily to do to take that away, but you're not really taking it away. The idea is that you may be allowing them a little bit of a vacation, a little bit of a respite. You may be readjusting or fine-tuning their energy to allow them to be more acclimated to the change that has occurred within them, so they can handle the energy better, and thus it is not painful for them any longer. The beam may seem to disappear, but what in many cases may actually be happening is that their energy is adjusting to encompass the beam, so it simply vanishes within the total energy that they now have changed themselves to, and is no longer recognizable because it doesn't stand out. There are many, many, many things that are happening in what you have described. Many different scenarios, many different types of interactions with many different types of beings. The whole spectrum that you have mentioned is true. But each case has to be taken individually to understand what is happening in that specific case. You follow me?
Yes, thank you.
Does this answer your question sufficiently?
Well, it helps. The next part of that is, am I putting myself at danger by interacting with these UFOs and removing some of these beams from people's bodies?
Are you doing it with the overall intention of being of assistance?
I'm doing it with the intention of helping. And if somebody's in physical pain, that's why they would come to me.
Then you are in no danger.
Okay. I'm in danger with the extraterrestrials.
Are you doing it with the intention of being of assistance?
Yes.
Then you are in no danger.
Okay.
Do you understand how the two are connected?
I do understand that. Now, I'm curious because there are times when I put my attention out and I feel that I am in communication with UFOs. And
sometimes?
At times, I've felt that there was some kind of an energy that was coming towards me to make me forget certain things.
Mostly, this is simply a rebound or an echo of the inner fears that you are expressing right now.
Okay.
Because when you send that beam out, the things that are reflected to you and the things that will stand out the most are the issues within you that you must process the strongest. If they are fear, if it is something that you may wish to forget, then forgetfulness will usually be the strongest echo that comes back.
All right.
This may seem threatening. Do not view it that way. There is nothing that any of you ever has to forget. The only reason that there is forgetting from time to time, and the only reason it may seem as if forgetting is imposed upon you from time to time, is because you are holding yourselves in check, because there are certain things that you are afraid to look at. You, in all the cases of forgotten time, missing time, forgotten episodes, forgotten interactions, each and every one of you are always sent on your way firmly holding the control, the button, the string that will immediately unlock all the forgetfulness when you are ready to face what it is you have forgotten about yourselves.
Okay.
I have one key, one cue that I can share with you now. All of you. It is all right to be afraid, but you don't have to be afraid of being afraid. That's usually what stops you. It's all right to be afraid. Let yourself dive into the fear, process it, and then you will know through your feeling, through your emotionality, what it is about yourself that you have been taught to separate, to segregate, and what you can bring back and absorb and integrate within you.
Okay.
More often than not, you do not allow yourselves to feel or to be in touch with feelings that would help you integrate yourself because you are afraid of being afraid. You remove yourself 2 steps beyond the original feeling. It is all right to be afraid. You can be afraid and you can still do anything you want, even if you're afraid. Being afraid does not stop you from doing what you want. Being afraid of being afraid stops you. Understand the difference. Just being afraid about something directly does not ever stop you from doing what you want. Does that help you?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask you another question about this implant?
If you're not afraid to.
No, I'm not at all.
Oh, all right.
I actually haven't been afraid. I've been doing this now for many, many years, and
Yes.
I don't have a fear at all. I just wanted, I'm curious about this implant. What is the intention of putting an implant in someone's head? Is it with the intention of getting information from us, or to
That is
put
one.
information to give us information?
That is 2.
Does it take away our self-determinism where we're
No.
thinking? Okay.
No.
All right.
And it also keeps track
Of what?
of the person.
That's what I want to know. Why do they want to keep track of us?
Well, out of 6 billion people, it would take a while to find one if there were not a beacon somewhere.
Okay.
It is important to find the people that they have already made agreements with, they are already working with, because those people they are working with for specific reasons. You understand?
Yes.
Again, it doesn't mean that it has to happen this way. Part of the reason it is happening this way in such a clandestine fashion is because of the structure that exists in your own governments of keeping things secret. Once all of this is brought out into the open, none of this really has to happen this way. But again, the race that is doing this has their own agenda quite separate from ours, quite separate from most of the beings in the association. They are very much more a reflection of your own society than you might think.
Oh, I'm sure of that. Okay.
Does this help you?
Very much.
Thank you very much.
Now, can I ask you one more question?
No.
No? Okay. Thank you.
Next, Sherry.
Hi, Bashar.
And good day to you.
I have a couple of quick questions, I believe.
Oh, all right.
One of them, I seem to be aware, or somebody has told me about an energy flow that relating to a possible earthquake on the 16th of July around 10:45 p.m. our time, California.
It is still within the veil of possibility. We already had sent information 3 days prior to your last moderate quake to the channel. He knew that one was coming. We have said last time that there is still a possibility of this to continue to shift throughout your month of July. It is a general energy that does exist and is highly probable at this time, but there is no need for fear.
No. I'm just very curious on the specifics that it was related to me, and that's
The
why.
pinpointing will be difficult. It does exist in strong probability fashion, but it is always fluctuating, because each and every one of you are always funneling through yourselves the ability to smooth that energy out and experience the shift in a very different way than you originally used to think you had to.
Oh, I see. The other question that I had was just in view of the recent world events.
Yes.
Our president seems to be cooking again to try and persuade more military action in the Middle East. And I was wondering if there was something that you could share with us, perhaps, that we can be doing for ourselves, or collectively or individually, to be able to put some sort of energy into the universe to try and remain...
What has your own imagination come up with so far, since it is your planet after all?
Individually, you mean?
Yes,
me?
you.
Me.
You.
Meditation for peace.
And what does that mean?
That means consciously concentrating on sending direct energy into the universe for peace.
All right, that's all well and good, but will you back it up with an action? Will it only be meditation, or will there be also intention?
Okay, now this is the confusing part.
Ah, all right. Let's discuss the confusion.
What sort of action could I take other than marching up and down a street somewhere with a placard?
Well, that's one.
I'm
That's one. You can at least get your idea out there. That's one way. That's doing something, is it
so
not?
that is doing something, and that would be...
That's just one.
Right.
I didn't say that was it.
Right.
That's just one. What else can you do?
Relate to friends and
Yes.
people as...
Share the idea in various number of ways. To do what?
To
meditate?
Harmonize. To harmonize the energy flow.
And what does that mean?
To meditate.
All right, but what else? What will you do with your body? I'll ask it another way.
Okay.
Obviously, you are asking this question because you have a great deal of concern about this issue, do you not?
True.
All right. Well, if you have a great deal of focus on this issue, are there not people you could be talking with? Are there not things you could be organizing? Are there not other suggestions you could be sharing with people about how to go about interacting with other people in the world? Are there not other people who have already perhaps put ideas down that you could make other people aware of as to how to go about rearranging your whole concept of the idea of war and militarism and how you have to spend your energy and so on and so forth? Are there not ideas and forums and congregations and suggestions and bills and laws and all sorts of ideas and lobbying and discussing and talking and speaking and putting yourself out there and organizing and creating organizations and doing work and handing out flyers and putting up billboards and all sorts of things that you could be creating, artwork that you could be making that is dedicated to peace? Talking to people, opening dialogues between your country and other countries. Are there not all these things you could be doing to create peace?
Absolutely.
Oh, well, all right. When will you start? Pick any one or invent your own.
Right.
Meditation is all well and good because that aligns you, and it does put out energy in the universe that makes it able for more people to do more things in that direction. But that is the whole point. Creating the energy makes it more able for things to be done. But if you don't do anything with the ability, what's the meditation for?
Right.
So do something. If you are focused on these ideas, use your creative imagination, use your artistry. Create something. Create an action. Create a situation. Create a dialogue. Create a place, a space, a presence, a communication, a form of art, some form of presenting your point of view, sharing it with people, getting people to move, to act. Do it in an inspirational way.
I thank you for the inspiration.
Thank you very much for allowing me to open up the box of creativity that you already are.
Right.
All you have to do is open the lid.
Right.
Thank you very much. Sharing.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Just regarding that last speaker.
Yes.
Now, in your book, you mentioned that if you just can imagine it, you are being it. And now you're talking about doing it. So I just sort of got the idea that being it wasn't really going to have much of an impact.
When we say imagine it, we are talking about a level of imagination far beyond what your world usually defines that word to mean. When we say imagine it, we mean the whole act of being that idea. We do not just mean sitting there and mentalizing.
Okay.
It is not just imaging it. Imagination is an action, is a whole inspirational act of being the idea itself.
Okay, well, that clears that up.
Well, thank you very much.
Here's my question.
Yes.
I had a dream.
One moment. Let me back up just a little bit because I think a little more clarity can be added to that idea.
Sure.
You yourself, when repeating the word, if you imagine it, you are being it, that phrase contains the seeds of understanding what we mean. Because if you are being something, then you are automatically acting in a certain way. You understand?
Yeah, I can see how the action is actually the part of the being.
That's what the being is. So if you imagine it, if you know that because you can imagine it, that you are at that moment the being itself, then you will be that way. And being that way means acting like what you are imagining.
Right.
It's all one thing. Didn't mean to imply that there was any separation in that function, in that mechanism. It is all one device.
Okay. Thanks.
Anyway, thank you very much for allowing me to clarify that point. Do continue, please.
Okay. About a week ago, I had a dream.
Yes, a dream.
And
You mean aside from the one you're having now?
Right.
All right.
There was a Pleiadian spaceship that I saw, and I believe I was beamed up into it.
Pleiadian spaceship. All right. Many of you are beamed up in astral form during dreams.
Right. I also, I was just wondering if you could share or if you knew anything as to about what was going on, because I really didn't have much memory of it other than seeing the ship.
Many of the typical beam-ups that occur frequently in your dream states are simply for the purpose of realignment, for the purpose of reassessment, for the purpose of redirecting yourself, for knowing what steps you wish to take from this point forward, for gaining a little bit of clarity and insight, for gaining an overview or a broader perspective of what it is you have within yourself planned to do next.
Okay.
That is what they are typically for. It gives you a little bit of a higher perspective.
Being that it was Pleiadian, am I somehow connected to Pleiadian energy more so than some other?
Yes, in a sense. Yes, in a sense.
Oh,
although
okay.
there are other mixtures in there, to some degree you can say for right now, they are more functionally your guides than any other particular species might be.
Well, I've been reading a lot of the Pleiadians.
Yes.
And I have your energy to contrast it with, and
yes.
The Pleiadians seem to concentrate a little bit more on some of the negative aspects of some of these other extraterrestrials, sort of creating to be cautious, not so much cautious, but to be aware that these other energies do exist.
Yes, well, we all have different jobs to do.
Oh, okay. But I notice that you yourself do not really focus much.
That is my job.
Right. Okay. Okay. One other question here. I'm a little confused when it comes to processing, as you say.
Yes.
Some of the energies that we don't prefer that we find within ourselves.
Yes.
I know that one way to do it is to focus your attention on what you do prefer.
Yes.
But
at the same time, you must be willing to feel and experience what it is that may be within you that you don't.
Oh, okay. So what would be a good, say, process to do? Let's say you're experiencing some energies that you don't prefer.
Get in touch with them. Experience them. Feel them. Don't deny them. Don't shut them down. Don't avoid them. Don't intellectualize them. Get into them.
Okay, well,
feel them.
That's what I
Find
do
out
is,
where they came from.
That's what I do is intellectualize them. Try to understand them. And so.
But you cannot understand them unless you experience them. You can only understand by experiencing. Do not be afraid to experience them. Experience them is what will allow you to get in touch with where they came from, when you bought into them, when you plugged them into your makeup, and why they are there, why they no longer have to be there, and then you can let them go.
So you sort of ask yourself some questions.
You have to be very honest with yourself. You have to be willing to feel who you really are. Who you are has to be all right, even if it's what you don't prefer. You have to love who you are before you can change.
Okay.
And that means feeling everything, experiencing it all, being willing to truly experience every sensation that you have bought into, even if you don't prefer it.
Well, let's say that you are maybe afraid, as you say, of feeling. What would be a good... so let's say that that's a good process to feel. But let's say that you've got some beliefs, some negative patterns.
May I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How can you be afraid to feel? Isn't fear a feeling?
Yes.
Well, if you're feeling fear, you felt one of the most negative ones you can feel. Everything else should be a piece of cake.
Well, now you mentioned as far as feeling a fear.
I am playing with you a little bit. When you
good.
say I am afraid to feel, what you're actually saying is I'm afraid to be afraid, because you haven't actually felt the fear yet either.
Right. Okay. Well, I'd love. Let's say I want to feel this fear.
Yes.
And you say if you are ready, you will allow yourself to feel it. So I'm wondering. Well, am I ready?
Well, being ready is simply a matter of having the intention and being willing to go through it, knowing that it's really no big deal, knowing that you'll be just fine, knowing that you're indestructible, knowing that it's going to serve you in the way that you say you want it to serve you, doing it anyway, even though it's fear-causing, even though it will rattle you, even though it may make you feel like you don't want to feel right now, allowing yourself to get in touch with why you may already have a fear, why you may have a feeling, will allow you then, from that point forward, to determine whether or not you ever need to have that feeling or fear again, but only after you go through it. Because as long as you deny it, you are keeping yourself, generally speaking, at the same place, never going ahead. That's the block.
Ah, the block, yes.
That's the block, being afraid to feel. And that's the paradox, is being afraid of being afraid. Because many of you, as we have just said, when you say, I'm afraid to feel, you're actually not even feeling the fear of being afraid to feel.
Right.
You're just, again, intellectualizing it. Perhaps one of the easiest ways for many of you to allow yourselves a safe place to get into the feeling is to go into what is called improvisation or acting. Because then you are surrounded by a supportive group of individuals who are cheering you on. Yes, feel, 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 get it all out. Or to go into what might be called some therapeutic sessions, where again, you are encouraged to feel. And the primary consideration is that you are told, and you know that you develop the trust that you are in a safe place to do so. Many of you will not allow yourselves to feel the things you really need to feel because you don't feel safe in doing so. You need to create a safe place for yourself to do these things. So use your imagination and use your inventiveness to either create some form of therapeutic or interactive or improvisational place where you are supported and cheered on by a group of your fellow beings to feel, 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 feel. Then you will get used to it. Then it will become easier for you to feel wherever you are. You will know you're safe within yourself no matter where you are, whether you have a supportive group of beings around you or not. That can be one way that you can break the ice. Understand?
Sure do.
Does that help you?
Very much so.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sharing.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have some confusion I'd like to cleared.
In your confusion, please speak up and be bold, so that all may share in your confusion.
What a joy.
Oh, yes.
I have several roads ahead of me to take.
Several roads to take.
Uh-huh.
I see.
I started a process in Wichita, Kansas, which is my home, to work with ADD children, hyperactive children, and we have some interesting things started in Wichita.
All right.
I come out to California here.
Yes.
And I find that Wichita is very dull in comparison to what's going on here.
Dull.
Dull, yeah. Because I am being brought into contact with many wonderful New Age people doing some great things.
So you are saying that you have discovered something that is more aligned with what excites you?
I think they both excite me very, very much.
Both?
Yes.
Both?
Both ideas.
Both ideas?
Yeah. Both places, both things.
So there is an overall idea that excites you, of which these both things and both places are representative examples within the excitement.
That's right.
Different methodologies for different places and times.
That's correct.
All right.
Okay. The Wichita mentality is not New Age.
Well, that's all right.
And sure. But, you know, there's tremendous need to bring some of this New Age concept into there in the form of machinery, things which will help our civilization for the children who are in troubles at this point. I know I can do the same thing as that out here.
Yes.
But I also am being drawn to those who are in the entertainment field.
Yes.
And there I can be of assistance to them as they move to the higher states of consciousness.
All right. Well, thank you very much for telling me what it is that you wish to do.
Oh, gee, I wish to do so many things. It's like there isn't enough time.
Oh, yes, there is. Anything that is really representative of the thing that excites you the most, will always bring with it exactly enough time for you to be able to do it. If there isn't enough time, then you will find it really isn't something that excites you very much, and there is no need for you to do it that way. Anything that is really part and parcel resembling or representative of the thing that really excites you will always bring exactly the right amount of time for you to be able to do it. And even if you think you have to do it right now, that may not always be the case, you know.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm aware of. There must be some time schedule in here that...
There is timing. Yes,
that
there is timing.
I don't quite know how to facilitate.
Oh, but yes, you do. All you need to do, again, is keep it simple and act at any given moment on the thing you're most capable of acting on that excites you the most. That will lead you into the proper place and timing automatically, synchronistically. You don't have to work all the details out ahead of time.
Okay, so...
Listen to that phrase. Work the details out. How many of you say this all the... Work the details out ahead of time. Of course you don't have enough time. You're working them out ahead of time.
Oh, well, when you
live in the moment, be in the moment where the time is. If it is anywhere, it's right here and now.
Okay, but when you make major shifts, you've got a lot of things you have to get accomplished.
Of course. But again, you can relax. Listen, are you listening?
I'm listening.
You can relax into the knowledge, into the feeling, into the understanding that all of those things will be accomplished in perfect timing if you act at any moment on the thing you are capable of acting on at that moment that is representative of the thing that excites you the most. They will all fall into perfect timing. You are worrying yourself a schedule. Look at all the things I have now forced myself to have to do. It's all one thing. It's all part and parcel of the thing you say is exciting. So therefore, by definition, they have to fit. And they will fit. And the things that don't belong.
They'll just fall away.
They will just fall away.
Okay.
Many times you think it will take you 558 steps to get somewhere, when in fact it might only really take you 3.
Okay.
Now, would you prefer 558 steps or would you prefer 3? Either is fine. I am not invalidating either. Sometimes 558 steps is a wonderful way to go. But if you prefer 3, then 3 is all it really will take. You understand?
Yeah, I'm ready for 3.
Then let the ones go that don't need to be there. You do not have to assume that all the steps your mind may fear must be there are really the steps you have to take. Just take the first one. Take the one that excites you the most. Take the one that excites you the most that you are capable of doing something about. All the others will make themselves apparent. One step at a time. In the moment, in the now, with a very general, open-ended plan. Let yourself fill in the details as you create them, as you go. Okay. Understand?
I understand.
Does that help you?
Yes, that does. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. All right, I'll say, allow us to continue with sharing.
Hi, Bashar.
And good day to you.
Last session, I had the opportunity to talk with our guest speaker about a painting that I got in the Soviet Union, which I brought to share with everyone today.
Yes.
I have a couple questions about it.
All right.
One is, what do the silver or metallic balls represent on the edge of it?
They are, usually in some craft, devices to guide the direction of the flow of the electromagnetic field around the craft. They are, in that sense, then, impellers. Do you understand?
Yes.
They fire, so to speak, not real fire. They ignite, they initiate the way, the direction of the flow of the toroidal stream of electromagnetic energy moves around the craft. They are, to some degree, also emitters of that energy to act as a stabilizing force around the rim of the craft for the dispersion of that energy so that it remains coherent.
Is this a mother craft, and can you give us the actual dimensions of it?
It is a rather large size craft. It is not what would be some of the largest motherships. You are here looking at something that is several hundred yards in diameter. The largest mother craft or city ships can be several miles long. Some of them are spherical, many of them are cylindrical.
The beam of intention, which we discussed.
Yes.
First, well, the main thing I have to ask about the craft, or the painting rather, is we discussed that it was a gateway for me, or a door to communicating.
Yes.
Why was I fortunate to be blessed with this painting? Is there a purpose that it's supposed to serve for me?
That will have to be up to your own personal understanding and discovery. Obviously, there is a connection for you and you alone. In this way, that you can utilize this particular combination of vibrations, of pigments, of coloration, of presentation for your unlocking of imagination in very specific ways. This is a very personal gift, and I cannot go into the idea of the specifics in public.
Many of the people here, and myself included, are able to feel an energy field when we
yes,
touch
it can
them.
work for many people, and it is up to you to determine whether or not you will allow other individuals to be able to utilize this as a gateway or a catalyst as well. It is very catalytic in many ways and can create a great degree of inspiration for many people, turning many keys, unlocking many levels of the imagination and insight into different dimensional consciousnesses, and receiving levels of information. As a point of clarification, now that the painting has been visually inputted into the channel's consciousness, the flash matrix, the flurry of activity at the bottom of the craft, though there are filaments there, those are not fully, literally representative of the physiological filaments. That is an artistic interpretation of the energy that surrounds the bottom of the craft during certain maneuvers, but they are the projected result of the flash matrix. You, in a sense, would understand that the flash matrix is quite hidden by the flurry of energy represented in the painting coming from the matrix itself. The filaments are much finer than that. They do not physiologically look like that, but if you were sensitive enough to see the actual energy given off by the flash matrix, you might see the energy as it has been interpreted in the painting along the bottom of the craft that way. You understand?
Yes.
As the feathering that you described.
Right.
These are sheets of energy, in a sense, overlapping, ever vibrating, ever fluctuating. The craft is going through a certain maneuver, and that is why the energy has piled up or concentrated around what you would call the bottom of the craft in that way, although understand that there really is no bottom or top to the craft per se.
Where was the craft maneuvering to?
Going from one dimension to another, shifting. This is the reason that there are ghost images around the bottom of the rim, of the spheres that dot the rim of the craft. It has been caught in mid-dimensional shift.
And the filaments at the top of the craft
is more a direct representation of some of the electromagnetic or electric energy within the electromagnetic toroidal field that we originally described. That is a more literal representation of the electric arcing that can occur in the field due to the high amplification of the energy.
We discussed the concept of the beam out of the top of the painting being the beam of intention.
Yes.
I'm having some trouble manifesting my intention, and I was wondering if you could give me some feedback and see if I'm being blocked in some way.
Do you feel your beam?
Not out of my chakra or any physical manifestation.
Will you imagine the idea in the following way? Let's keep this very simple. Let's start with the simplest analogy. Is there anything in your hand?
No.
Can you put an object in your hand from your pocket? Any object will do.
I have a ring I could put on in my hand.
Put the ring in your hand.
Okay. It is.
Now, how difficult was it for you to do that?
Very simple.
Because all of your intention, all of your thoughts, all of your desire, all of your actions, all of your emotions, everything in your being had the intention to do that and only that. You did not question it. You did not add any definitions to it. You did not qualify it. You did not judge it. You simply had the intention and were the idea, and you accomplished it. This is a simple analogy for what we mean by the purity of the intention that we are talking about. You simply do. You have the understanding, you have the thought, you have the emotion, you have the desire, you simply move. You act in that direction to the best of your ability, to the best of the opportunities you have attracted in your life. In the direction of the thing that excites you, you act, you reach. It is your will. I will now suggest something which can aid and assist many of you in understanding this concept of intention. From time to time, again, we will choose to recommend a work that is in existence on your planet, that is the creation of other beings, beings from other levels, other dimensions of all that is, in connection with beings on your planet. This exists in the form of a book and will clarify your understanding greatly. It is called The Right Use of Will. Have you heard of this?
No. Who's the author?
You will find it. Find it in whatever of those bookstores or whatever individuals are around you that are aware of this work, that cater to those understandings of channeled material. Read The Right Use of Will. In fact, I will now go so far as to make this suggestion. Anything that has ever been discussed in these sessions at any time since their inception, 8 of your years ago, now, in some sense, can be clarified and can require that if there is to be any further understanding, if there is to be any clarification, if there is to be any further continuation of the concepts and the principles that have been discussed, a basis for understanding these things, a basis for being able to continue these conversations will be for you, before you speak with us, to read that book, Right Use of Will. This will clarify many understandings within you, open up many doorways within you, and allow you to see, to put it in your colloquial terms, where we have been coming from, what we are talking about, what our intention is, and what we mean by many of the things that we have discussed, by many of the terms that may have been confusing to many of you. Do not allow yourselves at this time to become confused by what might sound to you, to your ears, like religious references. This is not the intention of the work. Simply feel the clear intention, relate to the clear intention of what you understand. There may be some terminologies that will sound religious to you, but this is not the intention of the work. Do you understand?
Yes.
Read this and we will talk further when you are a different understanding.
Can I ask you about something that relates to your discussion about time and past lives?
If you wish.
We once discussed recently about the concept of my using past life hypnotherapy to discover some roots of some problems I had. And I did this, and I found some interesting results. But I kept wondering how much, because I'm a writer, how much of these scenarios were coming from my imagination and how much were from actual lives that I have lived or am living simultaneously, and how I could differentiate them. Because one of the instances I dealt with...
Thank you. At this point, the strongest thing that we would wish for you to understand is that there is no difference. Can you allow yourself to accept that as a possibility?
Yes.
That there is no difference between what you would call your imagination and a literal past life. For everything you can imagine is in some dimension real. And if you are imagining it, you obviously have a reason and a purpose to imagine it, and therefore in that moment you are making a connection to it, and you can create whatever experiential connection to it you feel you must need to understand the idea of the total consciousness that you are. Even in the moment that you might make a connection instantaneously to what your imagination has concocted, in that moment it becomes a real life, a real section, a real segment, a real extension of the total consciousness that you are, a real experience. And therefore it is no different fundamentally, than the idea of having had a real past life. It is all existent now. It is all real, depending upon what you deem is the experience you need to recognize yourself. We would therefore request that you cease these differentiations, for they do not serve you in the way you wish to be served. You understand?
Yes, but then perhaps my question should be that if I'm able to be aware of these scenarios in whatever method they come to me, shouldn't that alleviate the problem that I'm trying to deal with?
No, for just being aware of it does not mean that you are using the experience in the way that it can serve you. Again, the idea is a matter of mentalizing as opposed to allowing yourself to feel, to be truly in touch and experience the scenario. When you experience the scenario that your imagination has concocted, that's when it is a life. When you experience it. You may only need to experience portions of it. You may not necessarily need to experience the entire continuity that your imagination comes up with, only segments of it. But experience it, you must. And even in the experiencing of it, it may lead you to other things that will eventually unfold an understanding. It may not bring you instantaneous recognition. But the idea is to trust and to move in the direction of the thing that you are drawn to. For that will eventually unfold in the total scheme of your life, all the understanding that you need. And remember again at any given moment, regardless of the level of understanding you think you have, you can still do whatever you want. Do you understand?
So it's just putting my intention to solving that problem, and that will solve it?
It is your intention to live what you wish to live that will bring you the opportunity to solve the problem. If you use the opportunity, you will feel the change. Does that help you?
Yeah, I think I need to mull it over, but it's getting there.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy your mulling.
Hello, Bashar. How are you?
And good day to you.
Are spaceships necessary?
For some civilizations. They seem to be right now for yours. In some senses, for ours, they serve many functions. Now, we all know we are all doing this with our consciousness. But the idea is still that we evolve, we have a different reflection or relationship to the concept of matter, and thus sometimes you still will find in many civilizations, even though they may empirically understand that their consciousness is taking them from place to place, or in all reality, that place to place is created within the consciousness, it still may be a matter of a truer, a more honest representation of the belief systems of that society to still project that understanding in the form of material craft. It still serves us, even if it only gives you a point of reference to relate to us within. To project the idea of our ability to move from one dimension to another by the utilization of what you would recognize to be a physical craft, because it is easier for you to relate to that concept as a civilization.
Makes sense. Roughly 13 years ago, I was in a hotel room in Garden City, Kansas, and I was reading some metaphysical books, and on 2 consecutive days had kind of experience. The first day was very pleasant, even though I was momentarily paralyzed laying on my bed, and also my eyes wouldn't open. I felt a presence come into the room, and when I was able to open my eyes, I saw light dance up and around the ceiling. And that was very nice, and then when I got bored with it, it disappeared. And then the next day...
When you acclimated to the energy, it disappeared?
No, it seemed like when I lost interest in it, it disappeared.
Yes, because you acclimated to the energy. The idea is that in that visitation, you were given a level of energy to rise to. When you matched it, you no longer had any interest in it because it was no longer different from you.
Okay, so now we're going to day 2.
Yes.
Same thing,
All
same
right.
thing. I don't know if I need to add this, but...
But you will anyway.
Of course I will.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. So what happens is I hear a key in the door. This happened both days. A key in the door, even though I knew I had the maid's lock on. I feel footsteps. I hear footsteps going into the bathroom. Whatever this was felt the need to wash its hands. I heard the water go on, turn off. I heard the towel rack squeak. Then I heard the footsteps come into my room, and on the second day, instead of my eyes being able to open and see the light, the footsteps came up to where I was laying and became very threatening. I heard a loud crinkling near my ear, which has always bothered me, and then I really felt, I felt as though I was going to be strangled by this.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. One moment. How do you feel about doctors?
They scare me to death.
Yes. Oh, one moment. All right. When you lay you down to sleep, allow yourself to utilize the following word, J, J. Repeat that.
J, J.
J, J.
J, J.
J, yes. You may use J, J or J. Either is fine.
J works better.
Thank you. Say, when you fall to sleep, J.
J.
I am centered in love and trust.
I am centered in love and trust.
I am supported in warmth and understanding.
I am supported in warmth and understanding.
The dark side is my friend. I will only gain strength from it.
The dark side is my friend. I shall only gain strength from it.
Even as it allows me to express the light that I know I am.
Even as it allows me to express the light that I know I am.
That will do it. You will begin a dialogue that will allow you to move from the fear side of that experience to the joy side of that experience, and will allow all the negativity to begin to drop away, and will not allow any of the negativity to be able to see you. You understand?
Yes.
Use that term, J. You will find out why later. All right?
Good enough for me. One last quick question.
Yes?
I have this amazing, rare, beautiful dog that has come into my life. Do you have any comment on that? She was a stray that I found.
As a sign of service, yes. Very strong. One moment, one moment. Are there blue eyes on this animal?
No, she's a brown-eyed girl.
Look as if there were. See as if there were blue coming from the eyes. If you wish direct communication, anytime you envision that there are blue coming from the eyes, you will be in direct communication and allow the animal to serve you. Your dreams should be becoming very vivid. It is a sign of service, and it is a help. What have you named? What have you been told is the name of the animal?
She had no name. I gave her the name of Kismet.
All right, good enough.
I hoped you'd approve.
It is not that I approve, it is simply that I recognize you know why she is there. Use what we have suggested. There is much that has to be done within your dream communications before we can elaborate on this particular thing. Do not mean to sound so mysterious, but you have set it up in this particular way mysteriously because there are certain kinds of discoverings and unfoldings and treasures that must be found by you in your own unique way before we are allowed to comment further and in more detail about this particular interaction and incident. But we have given you what we can. We thank you. Pleasant dreams.
Jay.
Sharing.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
It's interesting that you mentioned the right use of will, because the thing I was going to ask you about first...
Speak up, be bold.
Thing that I'm going to ask you about first happened when I was reading it.
Yes.
I discovered that I had this terror inside of me. So I went into the terror.
All right, very good. Congratulations.
And
what did you discover?
I became a point of consciousness floating in a vast nothingness. It wasn't exactly black, and the two other times that I've gone into it, it's been more like a dark gray.
All right.
But there's nothing else there but me.
Yes.
And
how does it feel to be all that is?
It felt scary when I was on the outside, but when I became that point of consciousness, it felt wonderful.
All right, thank you very much.
And I can never stay in it for very long.
Oh, that's all right. It is not that you are supposed to stay in it that way. It is that you are able now to bring that experience through in the way you have chosen to be in this particular aspect of all that is, and use that in your physical life on a daily basis. Just staying in that state wouldn't allow you to do much.
No,
except collect dust.
I could move.
Yes.
I could move in all directions, but there wasn't anything else going on.
You are on the verge of learning. You are on the verge of learning. You are about to really see what it means to move with intention. Be prepared. You're going to be astonished.
Okay.
And that's all right. You will also find that when you do it, you will laugh. And it will release a strong laughter within you.
Good.
Anything else?
Yes, I have one other question. I've always been puzzled by the fact that when the Europeans came to America and brought their diseases with them,
yes,
that actually many, many more Indians died of disease than died from battle.
Yes.
And I wondered why would so many people want to consciously all depart at the same time?
There are many cycles that are involved in the idea of your history. There are many remnants of Atlantis involved in your East Coast Native Americans. They had thus drawn to themselves some of their fears and did not maintain their integrity by maintaining what might have been the physical separation that was necessary until they got in touch with those fears. They allowed themselves to be devastated in that way, to take themselves through the fears that they knew eventually they would have to face, that would come back to their children's 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 children from Atlantean times, with the rejoining of the Western civilization and the Native American remnants of Atlantis.
Okay, was that also true in Peru and South America?
In some senses, but for many different reasons. There is far more history on your planet and far more denial on your planet in those histories than you already know.
I believe that.
But it is now in the process of reintegration.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Sharing.
Hi, Bashar.
And good day to you.
Happy to talk with you again.
And ecstatic to speak to all of you as well.
Do you want to talk about Zeta? Zeta Reticulum?
Maybe.
Okay. A session or two ago you said that the Illuminati was a front.
In a sense.
For Zeta?
The concept of the Illuminati is a projection of the combined consciousness of elements of your own society, especially in what you would call some of your governmental sections.
They are agents for the Illuminati? A Gentar?
Let me finish.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll put it this way. It is a screen being used and projected by certain individuals to allow you to focus on miscommunication and misdirection, to allow you to think that there is more power there than there is. Since the idea was created, since the idea did at one time in a sense exist, it was thought that it could be utilized in your modern day and age to create more sense of suppression and confusion. Understand this. If there is a true Illuminati, you wouldn't know they existed. You would never hear about them. You would never hear the word. So Illuminati is the outward level of many things that are kept deep within many individuals, within many organizations, and are utilizing this concept of Illuminati as an outward face, an outward false front, an outward facade to misdirect people's attention away from where the real individuals are, and away from people's self-empowerment.
Yeah, the Church of Satan, is that under the same category?
In a sense, let's put it this way. It is used by many people for the same purpose, although there are many factions involved in that idea that are quite different from that as well.
Okay, so people who get involved with being agents of the Church of Satan or agents of the Illuminati or any agencies of these front-type organizations get sucked into the roles in these agencies through the...
It will depend upon the individual. Some individuals are simply playing around in their dark side for a while because they enjoy it.
Yeah. The lure, though, the bait, is sort of a sense of power over.
Yes.
That's the cheap sense of power.
Instead of power within, yes.
Power within is the true power, and then the idea that you can gain power over somebody is the lure, and then the snare. How they get hooked in is they get denoted as an official in this agency, and they just get trapped in. Because we have a lot of people running around in government agencies and Church of Satan probably and Illuminati thinking that they actually are these individuals with power over.
Yes, it is a shadow play.
Yeah.
A very creative, very inventive, very exciting shadow play.
And what is the benefit from... Now, I recognize that the Zeta come and take over worlds, not with military conflict, but with the idea of...
They do not take over worlds.
Okay, bad...
That is an Illuminati statement.
Bad choice of words.
No, perfect choice of words. Perfectly representative of what you are talking about in terms of the shadow play.
But for our understanding of communication, to get the true meaning of it, they superimpose a belief system upon a world that they are... What is their benefit? I don't even understand their benefit. Why are they playing
All right. First of all, again, there are many more levels to this than we can discuss in the period of time that we have in this interaction. However, if you are willing to understand that this is an oversimplification, there are things they are getting out of this for their own society. There are things that you have, they need. There are things they have, you need, so to speak. Now, the idea is that they do not impose their belief system upon a society. They use the belief systems already in the society to be able to hide what they are doing if that's the way the society is set up. They are only following your game plan.
Oh, so they use religion and they use
your
science.
Your society is based on the concept, or has been in the negative side, based on the concept of the shadow play and the removal of self-empowerment. So that's the tool that they use because that's the strongest level of your society with regard to what you believe is truly representative of power.
So the shadow play, to recognize this shadow play, you would look at artificial entities.
Yes.
Artificial entities that are maybe corporations or...
yes.
But these are fronts. These are not true sovereigns or true individuals.
All of these things...
And they have the hive mentality backing them, the civil...
In a sense, yes.
Civil or municipal type of...
Yes. This is an oversimplification, but for the stream we are following and only in one direction, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I ask something about who I was talking to last time? What I was talking with last time? How many...
Are you talking about the association?
Yeah, the galactic entities. There was, I don't know, how many species were present in that conglomeration or in that transmission?
There are approximately, in that transmission, 357 combined species.
That's neat. Because we're losing a species a day on the planet almost, and it's neat that we encountered all those that one day 2 weeks ago.
We thank you for allowing us to share the reflection to you that nothing is really ever lost, but that this is an opportunity to restabilize yourselves and enjoy the fruits of all of the different diversity that does exist within the consciousness of your Earth. Yes. Shooting!
Hi.
And to you, good day.
Thanks.
You are welcome.
I feel like
yes.
I'm a star with this microphone, but...
You are a star. You are all stars.
Thank you. But what I wanted to ask you about is, I feel like in my life right now, I feel kind of muddy.
Muddy?
Yeah, emotionally.
Oh, all right.
And I'd like to do two things. One is make a decision about... I have a decision to make, and I'm doubting my intention. It's about going away to school.
Going away to school?
Yes.
This is something you find exciting or no? Why are you going? What is the reason that you have created for going away to school?
Because it's a big world and I want to see it.
Because it's a big world and you want to see it. All right.
And
yes.
I also feel like part of who I am is an artist, and I want to have a chance to really focus on that.
All right. And this is the most exciting way that you feel you can do this?
When I made the decision, originally it was the most exciting way, and now I'm wondering if it's... I don't feel that excited about it, and I'm...
All right, then what has your imagination come up as an alternative and more exciting way in which you can realize your dreams?
Well, what I'm wondering is...
Yes?
Maybe I just need to give myself permission to get excited about it again, because it's got put on hold for a long time.
Maybe so. It might be possible that you are holding yourself off from your excitement, but many times you will also find that sometimes those avenues, those directions were only created because you assumed that it had to be done that way. So you allowed yourself to be excited about it, but now you might be finding that you really would be more excited about doing it another way. It is up to you to determine which of these two ways is actually happening for you.
Well, I can play for a minute with different exciting thoughts.
When you say artist, what are you saying? What kind of artist?
Painting and a little bit of writing.
Painting and a little bit of writing.
Yeah.
Little bit of writing.
With a lot of humor in it.
With a lot of humor in it. All right. Little bit of writing with a lot of humor in it. Dash of this, touch of that. All right. What kind of paintings do you enjoy doing? What medium do you like to work in? Or mediums?
Paint, like some acrylic and some oil painting.
All right. Are you doing paintings now?
No.
When did you do paintings last?
Maybe about 9 months ago.
When will you paint again?
I don't know.
You're not excited about painting?
It feels more like it's my life role rather than what I'm necessarily all that excited about.
What are you excited about then? What are some of the things that excite you? What is a thing that excites you?
Dog sledding.
Dog sledding. All right. When will you go dog sledding?
I don't know.
Why not? You just said it excited you. Why aren't you scurrying around to find out where you can go dog sledding as soon as you possibly can? If that's what excites you, I would think you'd be out and around looking for an opportunity to do what excites you. Why aren't you?
It takes me a long time to get to the thing that excites me, and by that time I'm maybe not so interested in it anymore.
Now I see the long bridge and arduous process you are creating between conception and the doing of the thing. It takes a long time to get to a place where I can do what excites me. The point, again, is that if you have a goal that excites you more than anything else, the easiest and quickest way to get there is to act on whatever opportunity presents itself in the present that you can do something about, that is the most exciting thing at that moment you can do. Knowing that because it is the most exciting thing you can do at that moment, then by definition it must be connected to whatever that exciting goal is that you think is out there. So if you simply do all of the things in any given moment that are the most exciting things you can do, whether they appear to be connected or not to the goal you say is exciting, you will have so much fun in the meantime that you will not care how long it takes. And by not caring how long it takes and by having so much fun, it will seem to happen like that. Your difficulty is in assuming that you have to be doing something to get to that exciting goal that would entail doing something that is not exciting. You have within you the definition that says, well, yes, this thing is exciting, but the steps it takes to get there are not. That is incorrect. There is nothing that you ever have to do aside from the thing that excites you the most at any given moment. Do it with integrity. If you have a goal out there that you say is the exciting thing, but you see no way to act on it, you see no way to get to it, then do whatever is the thing you can do that is the most exciting thing you can imagine doing at that moment. It is the excitement of the doing of the thing that will get you there. Not whether it appears to be physically connected, not whether it appears to have anything at all to do with that thing. It is the excitement of the moment that will get you there the quickest. Do you understand this concept?
I feel like I do.
You feel like you do. All right, well, how about acting like you do? How about acting like you do? If in any given moment, dog sledding is the most exciting thing that you could think of to do, act like that's true. If that really is the most exciting thing, then it would encompass your thoughts. It would completely absorb you. You would be able to think of nothing else other than finding out, how does one go dog sledding right now? Who's dog sledding right now, and how can I dog sled with them? Make a call. Find the ad. Call the Dog Sledders Association of Earth. Make it up as you go along, but do it. It is the process itself that you will learn from. And it may be that the thing that excites you may never even have to be fulfilled, because you may find that in going through the process, all of a sudden the excitement will change. That's okay, because that means you got out of the process the thing you needed to get out of it. Many times, it is simply the taking of the action in that direction in and of itself that is all you needed to get or learn from the process, not the completion of the thing that attracted you. Understand? You're a very sneaky group of people, and you will trick yourselves in any way you have to get you to move. So sometimes you will dangle the bait out there, and you will make the leap for it, and all of a sudden the bait will disappear, and you'll go, oh, well, that wasn't fair. Until you understand that you had such a good time in making the leap that it was making the leap at all that was the purpose. The bait was there, not the getting of the bait. Mm-hmm. It was the making of the leap that gave you the joy, that propelled you, that enlivened you, that awakened you. And that might have been the total purpose of the bait's existence. not the grabbing of the bait. If it stays there after the leap, you'll grab it because that was your intention. But if it moves, understand that it was the process itself that served you. Joy in that, revel in that, and understand that you did what you needed to do. And wherever your excitement has shifted, leap in that direction. And you will be true to the process of who you are and what you need to discover and where you're going and the fulfillment of your goals. Is this making some sense?
Yeah, it makes complete sense.
Yes?
I feel like I may still want to go to school. What I really didn't want to do was write the grant proposals before.
Then you don't necessarily have to. This is also important to understand. A, many times you are unwilling to do certain things that people say are required of you because you assume, as other people tell you, that you have to do it in a certain way that's not exciting for you. You can attract a way that is exciting for you, whether it involves the method specifically that they say you must do, because sometimes it might, because that might be the only avenue your society has created for you to do that. But if it is, then you will be able to still find a way to do it that's exciting, or you will find an alternate route that doesn't involve that particular methodology, but which will be an exciting way, and you'll still achieve what you want to achieve. Do you understand? You don't have to have the assumption that you have to do it in the way everyone says you have to do it, or that even if you do it that way has to be boring and unexciting. You can attract to yourself the way that would be exciting for you, otherwise it wouldn't serve the purpose.
I can eliminate the drudgery.
Of course, you don't even have to attract it at all.
Well, I think that's the thing I didn't quite get before.
Of course, for everything that excites you, there is an exciting way to do it. Again, your society is in the habit of saying the doing of the exciting thing, the getting the chance to do the exciting thing somehow is separate from how to get there. And how to get there, everyone knows, is not as exciting. You're separating those things. The getting there is a part of the doing of that thing and therefore can be just as exciting.
Is that also the answer to my other question about being muddy? That's how it feels.
Say it again.
I feel like my emotions have been pretty muddy, and I think I have felt ripped off.
You are clouding yourself with definitions that do not serve you, that you think you have to adhere to. You do not have a clear definition of the way you want to do it because you don't believe that your definition is equal power with all the other definitions that you have been fed. Spit them up.
My definitions?
Spit up the definitions that don't serve you.
Oh, okay.
Let them go. Discover and create the definition that you believe serves you. Say, all right, here's my goal. This is what excites me. This is what I want to do. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Don't cloud it. Don't muddy it with definitions you think have to be there in order to define that reality. Very often that's not true. Keep the basic wish simple. The thing that excites you. I am an artist. That excites me. I want to paint. That excites me. I want to go to school. That excites me. How do I get there? I don't know, but I'm going to attract an exciting way. That's exactly what it needs to be for me. Period. You understand? That's all the definitions you need. Then you start attracting the opportunities. And as the opportunities are presented to you on a silver platter by the universe, you say, I like that one, I don't prefer that one. That one excites me, that does not excite me. Therefore, the ones that excite me are the ones that will work for me. The ones that don't excite me are the ones that will work for someone else. Keep it simple. Make a choice. Act in that direction with intention. Does this clear the waters up a little bit?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
If I'm still a little wishy-washy about going, and I often am wishy-washy about things.
Maybe you need a rinse cycle. Then perhaps you need to dry out.
Okay. I just want to know whether being wishy-washy, you can still do things and not worry.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Because if you still do things and not worry while you're being wishy-washy, then you're not being wishy-washy. But I understand what you mean. Yes, I am wishy-washy. I think I'll do this. I think I'll do that. If you're going to be wishy-washy, then yes, all right. Be wishy-washy fully.
Thank you. I'll do that.
All we are saying is that whatever you choose to be, you can choose to be anything. Whatever you choose to be that thing fully because you chose it. If you don't prefer it, be something else. But whatever you choose to be at that moment, be it fully. If it's wishy-washy, be wishy-washy fully. Don't deny that you're wishy-washy. Yes, I'm wishy-washy, and I hate being wishy-washy. No, you don't hate being wishy-washy because you chose to be wishy-washy. Yes, I'm wishy-washy. This is fun. So this is what it's like to be muddy and wishy-washy. Wow. This is great fun to be wishy-washy. I can see why so many people choose to be wishy-washy. Well, now I've experienced being wishy-washy, or have I? I don't know. I'm not sure. But yes, now I have decided that I will choose to be something else, and so I will. Period. Does this help?
Yes, and I enjoyed it too.
Well, thank you very much, because that really was the whole point.
Thank you.
Shooting!
Hello, Bashar.
And good day to you.
I want to thank you very much, first of all, for your book, The Blueprint. It's incredible and very helpful, and for all the people I know that are reading it, we're very, very grateful for the information.
All right.
Thank you. I personally am experiencing a physical illness, and I wanted to know if I may call upon my multidimensional selves to heal this body and how to go about it. Do you have any suggestions?
Yes, you can do that. It can be done. I do not at this time have time to explore all the different belief systems within you that might be preventing you from allowing yourself to do that, but it can be done. It can be done. One of the suggestions we have already made will be of some assistance to you in terms of the information in the book, The Right Use of Will. Do understand, all dis-ease is a holding of the self out of one center. But you can learn from it. If it is the way you think you have to learn something, you will create the dis-ease so you can learn and so you can release. Acknowledge that you have created it as you do. Don't deny it. Don't be in denial about it. You can do it. It can be done. Right now, we would suggest that you take a deep breath, as deep as you can. Again, slowly, completely, and purely. One of the strongest ways to center yourself and release disease is by learning how to breathe, which almost none of you know how to do, as automatic as it is. Learn how to breathe from your center. That will go a long way towards eliminating disease in your body of any kind. That's the first step. Open up as you breathe to attracting information and help on all levels to bring to you information that will help alleviate the difficulty you are having. Attract individuals to make suggestions to you. Choose which feels best to you. Do not take anyone's word for it. Do not be overly cynical as well. Open yourself up to know that the universe is supporting you and will send you all of the information you need. Pick and choose what feels best to you. But breathe, breathe, breathe. Take your time, be at ease, breathe. This is all we can tell you right now.
I have a second question.
All right.
Thank you. I've heard a lot about increasing our vibrations.
Yes.
Are there physical exercises and things we can do aside from meditation?
The breathing will help in that direction as well, because as you center, your vibration will raise. Anytime you feel that you wish to help heal someone, your vibration will raise. What gives you joy in life? The doing of that will raise your vibration.
My joy is singing.
Well, that's a vibration in and of itself, is it not?
Yes.
What is the most joyful note or harmony or chord that you can possibly hit? If you hum that, your favorite chord, that will also center you. That will also heal you. That will also raise your vibration. If you immerse yourself in a symphony of instruments, of that note, of that harmony, of that chord, of that piece, that will also heal you. All right?
That's fascinating. Thank you.
That is the beginning. See what that does for you.
Thank you.
We thank you very much. Sharing.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have a update and a curiosity I'd like to share with you.
All right, update.
Okay, update. Since the last time we spoke,
yes,
I did a workshop in intentional psychology,
yes,
which was very successful.
Oh, thank you very much for creating it to be so.
Thank you. It actually just evolved. I got woken up one evening, it kind of just poured out of me, and it was exceedingly exciting. And
one moment. Intentional psychology, something we discussed. Go ahead.
Yes, and in the course of it, it has truly brought my intentions into alignment, and they just continue to unfold.
You are looking clearer.
Thank you. The curiosity.
Yes.
Okay. In my work...
Here comes the cat.
The cat. Yes, in my work,
yes,
what I observe is that relationships are all movement, and in this movement there seems to be a tension between union and separation, between people coming together and separating. And I'm wondering when we are going to be able to be integrated enough to stay with the union, or to...
You do understand that integration does not mean that you will lose your diversity.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. It means you become a stronger individual. Yes?
Separation, you're saying? Or the...
Integration.
Integration, okay.
Means you become a stronger individual.
Absolutely.
All right. Anytime at all, it is open to you to integrate to the point where you do not have that idea that you are calling separation. However, understand that some separations are positive because they are responsible for your ability to be able to experience physical reality. You will not lose all separations. You will never lose all separations. You understand that?
Yes, I understand.
They can serve you constructively in many ways by providing what you would call a different perspective, a different point of view. The idea is to unconditionally acknowledge, accept, and love all the points of view, recognize what your preference is, live that way, and you have at that moment absolute ability.
What would be the best way for me to assist others in feeling comfortable, or okay, I don't have the words, with the idea of a union, if that's what they truly desire?
One moment. How much play do you put into your intentional psychology?
A fair amount.
A fair amount? Oh, I wouldn't want you to put an unfair amount in.
Yes, I believe there's a great deal of play.
Do you ever get silly?
On occasion.
No, right? What prevents you from becoming silly more often?
Because
you want it to be taken seriously?
Exactly. What I'm hearing usually has a very serious connotation, so I respond. Some of the
If you can allow them, while acknowledging that they see it as a serious idea and not taking away from that, if you can allow them to begin to learn to play more with it and allow them to be silly with it, you will have a stronger success.
Yeah, thank you. That is really my intention. That's who I see myself as and what I feel like I do the best.
You will find the way to allow them to know that you take them very seriously, and all that really means is that you respect them with absolute and unconditional love and integrity.
Okay.
And at the same time, you can then allow them to move themselves out of that, not taking themselves away, not divesting themselves, but moving out of it in the sense of realizing that they have created it, that it is their toy to play with, that they can shape it, change it, mold it, pattern it in any way, shape, or form they want. It's not fixed, it's not rigid. It doesn't have to remain in a serious face, serious mask. Can take the corners of the serious mouth and push them up. Can put some smile lines around the eyes. That might be a good exercise for you. The masks that you use to represent comedy and drama. Have them see the serious, dramatic mask. Have them see the comedy mask. Tell the story that they want to tell you with the serious mask first. Tell the same story with the comedy mask and see if they feel a difference. See if they gain some insight into how to transform the idea that they are sharing with you. That can be one exercise.
Can I ask you, I've been working with somebody who's had a very difficult time with a molestation that occurred when she was 11.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if you might also be able to give me some other ways besides what I've already done.
Are they freely acknowledging how angry they are about that?
Yes.
Are they willing to express it as fully as they wish to?
Yes.
Are they willing to recreate the incident by saying now what they wished they could have said then? By expressing themselves while they are angry, by saying what they wanted to have said then to the other person.
I believe they would be willing to do that.
Do it. They have to get it out of their system. When we say experience it, we mean experience it. Feel it, say what you wanted to have said. You must get the whole expression out. The expression hasn't gotten out. The anger is there. They may be willing to say, yes, I'm angry. Well, how are you angry? I'm angry enough to have said this. Well, say it. The whole act must be there in order for them to really feel the experience. And then they can also do many different things from that point forward. But once they have truly expressed what they really wanted to say that they felt they never could say, then they will be at a point where they can pick and choose how they wish to go from that point, but they will have released a great portion of that block.
Okay.
From that point forward, they can do a number of things. They could recreate the entire scenario. They can have the person that they felt did this to them say to them what they would have preferred that person to have said or done rather than what they did or said. They can reinvent the entire childhood and know that it is a real new childhood, that they are redefining themselves. And as they redefine the child, they will redefine the adult. They will become a new person, literally.
Okay.
That's one other way. There are many other ways. But the key to all of this is that they must truly experience the whole experience. Understand?
Yes.
In a place of safety and in a way that doesn't hurt anyone else.
Yes, I feel I can create that.
All right, well, very good.
Okay, thank you, Bashar.
Well, thank you very much. And?
Greetings, Bashar.
And good day to you.
Thank you. I've been clarifying for myself the kinds of material I should like to develop for production.
Production.
Yes.
Yes.
And I've come across a couple issues that I'd like to explore with you.
All right. Be bold. Speak up.
Thank you. One is, in considering the material itself, shall I be only looking to consider what is exciting for me, or do I need to also be conscious in some other way of the audience I will be speaking to?
What is exciting for you will reach the audience that is designed to receive what you have to say.
Okay.
Understand?
Yes. So I just, as long as I'm feeling satisfied within myself,
Absolutely.
that's enough.
If you're not satisfied in yourself with what you're doing, you don't reach anybody except people who like to sit back and watch you flap around miserably, not saying what it is you really want to say.
Right.
You'll reach that audience, the critics.
Great.
Do it the way you want to do it,
Okay.
and you'll reach the audience that you need to reach.
Okay.
And?
Then the other thing that I've been exploring is the concept, I'm very excited about the idea of looking at old patterns and breaking those old patterns and not feeling having to be attached to them in order to be able to move on.
Yes.
And in part this is connected with my first question because I feel within myself that I've learned a process with which to do that.
Yes.
But on a mass level I haven't seen too much evidence of this happening.
A mass level?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
In terms of the society around me, the world around me. So.
Well, that's all right.
Okay.
Do understand this, please. Everything that we have said, everything that we suggest to all of you, doesn't mean we do not recognize that you are an intensely complex society. You have been steeped in the idea of belief systems you don't prefer for many thousands of years. It's going to take a little time. It's going to take a little time before you see some of the changes you want to see. But at least make the changes in your own life. That's what will allow everyone else the best opportunity to make the changes in theirs. Don't have the expectation that you have to see anyone change. Sometimes the changes that you see in other people are not changes in the people you already know. It's simply that those people move out of your life and people who are more aligned with what it is you prefer move into your life, and that's the change. You understand?
Yes, I recognize that on within my own sphere.
Well, that's the whole point. That can be the whole point, and that might be the entire methodology in which the change will occur. Not that you will see the other people change, just that you will only surround yourself and they will surround themselves with people who think alike.
So in joining these two concepts here, if I work on material that speaks to where I'm at about letting go of old patterns and moving forward, then it'll just reach the audience I need to reach, and I don't have to worry about seeing where they are.
For every person that has something to say, there has to be someone who wants to hear it, or you wouldn't exist, or you wouldn't want to say those things. There are no one-sided coins.
Okay, and then logically I would have to say that I would be able then to find the people who will finance this that want to hear the same movie.
Everything that you need will automatically be presented to you as an opportunity for you to follow up. Follow up the ones that excite you the most. Follow up the ones that are truest to your original vision. No compromising.
Yes.
Many of you think, whoa, no compromising? What, I have to be a real stuck-up, stiff-ideaed person that'll never be able to bend or this or that? No. That is not what we mean when we say no compromising. Doesn't mean you don't work with people. But the idea is to recognize that the teeth fit in the grooves where they need to. That's the only compromise. That's the true working with. That's the true blending. When the teeth fit in the grooves. This is the kind of compromise most of you attempt to make. Butting your heads against each other, when many times you have no business dealing with the people you force yourself to deal with. Because you're not aligned.
Okay, that speaks to something that I've been feeling while I've been looking through this, which is a fear within me that the things that I want to say have been received in a manner where other people have been scared by them. So that scared me.
That's
and is that meaning I'm meeting people that are not aligned with me, or
it means also that you are attracting people to reflect back to you that there are still some issues you're afraid of. You have to work on those.
Okay.
To become the person you really want to be, to do the vision you really have. And then you will attract the people who will reflect your clarity of vision. When you are uncompromising, so will the people you attract in your reality be. And they will be more aligned with you, and you align with them synchronistically.
Okay.
Do not put the expectation on how you think it has to manifest, because there are many ways it could manifest. You will find that out when you allow yourself to be the person who is true to the vision.
Okay.
Does that help you?
It does. Can I ask you one other thing?
Oh, all right. One.
I met recently someone who is a Native American Indian chief and who I want to propose working on this vision with.
Does that excite you?
It does.
And?
I'm wondering if that, I feel this fear of that it will be offensive to him to receive the explanation that I have to share with him. Because
then here's how you go about it.
Okay.
Again, do not play games. Do not act in denial. That's what will turn him off.
Okay.
Because he will sense the fear you're not acknowledging. If you say, I am scared spitless to talk to you about this, but I'm going to do it anyway, because this is what excites me, then he'll know you're genuine and he'll talk to you. You understand?
So rather than just going forth with it...
Oh, please, sir. Well,
no, I don't mean it in that way.
You know what I mean, though.
Yes.
I'm exaggerating the point, but you know what I mean. More often than not, the point is that when you want to say something to someone, you don't acknowledge the total you that is saying it. You try to hide behind a facade by saying, well, I have to act like I'm not really afraid. I have to act like I know what I'm doing. I have to act like this has some worth. I have to act like it has merit. I have to act like he might be interested. And then, if you listen to yourself, what you're actually saying is, I have to act like it, but what you're saying is, it doesn't really have worth. It doesn't really have merit. He may really not find it that way. You're scared of all these things. So go in with the real you. I am scared. I am afraid. You may not find this as exciting as I find it, but that's okay. Maybe you won't, but that's okay too. But I'm scared, and that's all right, but I'm going to tell you what it is anyway.
Okay.
It's that genuineness. That's what will click, and it is the genuineness that will erase the fear, paradoxically.
Okay.
You understand?
I believe I do.
When will you contact this individual?
I have already written a letter, which I was going to seal up and deliver, but now I guess my question is,
all right.
do I
May
add...
I ask you a question? May I ask you a question?
Please.
Oh, you got me very excited now.
Oh, good.
Why did you write a letter?
Because he's in New York.
All right. Would you have preferred to have seen the person in person?
Oh, I had intended it, but then his airplane left before I got a chance to talk to him.
If you had an opportunity, you would have done it in person, yes?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much. That's all I needed to know.
Okay. My question was, I've really put myself forth, I think, very solidly in my letter, but I did not say I'm scared. Do I need to add that?
P.S. I'm scared. Send a second letter. Do you feel that if you send a second letter that might be a little more open and more revealing about who you really are and how you really feel, that you will feel lighter after writing it?
I don't know. I can try it and find out.
Don't try it. Write it.
Do it. Well,
See how it feels.
I haven't sent the first one yet.
Oh, you haven't?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've really presented my idea and
my concept. You haven't sent the first one?
I just wrote it.
When?
2 nights ago.
2 nights ago?
Yes.
Could have been on its way.
It could have been.
Why isn't it?
Because I've been out of town and I haven't attended
to it.
There
aren't no mailboxes out of town?
No, there aren't.
You understand what I'm saying? Any hesitation at all is an indication that you are not necessarily aligned with the intention of your vision.
Okay.
It is those chinks that you need to reseal.
Okay.
That's all we are really saying.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our love to you.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And good day to you.
Good day.
Speak up and be bold so that all may share what you have to say.
All right. I have a couple of questions. The first is that as a psychic healer, for years when I scan people's bodies, I notice something, you can call it energy field or a beam that's going into bodies. And I'll trace it back on many occasions. I'll trace it back to UFO or an extraterrestrial. And I find that when people are having physical problems, like pains in certain areas, when I remove the beam, the pain goes away. And I've been told that some of these are implants, and I've been told that they're negative, and I was wondering, I wanted you to explain to me, maybe, I don't know if that's what it is, if there is such a thing as an implant, and why an extraterrestrial or UFO would want to put beams into people on this planet.
A, yes, there are implants. B, they do not occur with many civilizations, in fact, very few. Understand that there are many, many, many civilizations out here. Not all of us are aligned in our point of view. Do not necessarily always think of us as one big happy club. There are many with their own agendas, even though we have an association of worlds, and in that association we are basically in alignment. There are many who are not a part of that. There are many who are forming their own agreements with your civilization and interacting with your civilization in a various number of ways. The idea of some of the things that have been happening to some of your species members that may seem on the surface to be uncomfortable, painful, negative, are interactions with some of these other species, some of these other races. They have their own agendas, their own things they wish to learn. Some of the discomfort simply comes from misunderstanding. Some of the discomfort comes from an inability of one species to really be able to identify, even on what you would consider the most basic level of similarity with each other. Some of the discomfort comes from being forced to face certain aspects of your own consciousness that you may not yet be ready to face. Some of the beams in that sense can also be considered implants, not physiological ones, although those exist, but implants in the sense that adjustments were made in a person's energy to allow them to look at certain things. Now, they can be painful sometimes because perhaps the energies going through certain chakras or energy gates in the body are pouring more energy through that gate than the person may be used to handling. And so it may be painful for a while until they can adjust to it. It is not a negative thing necessarily to do to take that away, but you're not really taking it away. The idea is that you may be allowing them a little bit of a vacation, a little bit of a respite. You may be readjusting or fine-tuning their energy to allow them to be more acclimated to the change that has occurred within them, so they can handle the energy better, and thus it is not painful for them any longer. The beam may seem to disappear, but what in many cases may actually be happening is that their energy is adjusting to encompass the beam, so it simply vanishes within the total energy that they now have changed themselves to, and is no longer recognizable because it doesn't stand out. There are many, many, many things that are happening in what you have described. Many different scenarios, many different types of interactions with many different types of beings. The whole spectrum that you have mentioned is true. But each case has to be taken individually to understand what is happening in that specific case. You follow me?
Yes, thank you.
Does this answer your question sufficiently?
Well, it helps. The next part of that is, am I putting myself at danger by interacting with these UFOs and removing some of these beams from people's bodies?
Are you doing it with the overall intention of being of assistance?
I'm doing it with the intention of helping. And if somebody's in physical pain, that's why they would come to me.
Then you are in no danger.
Okay. I mean in danger with the extraterrestrials.
Are you doing it with the intention of being of assistance?
Yes.
Then you are in no danger.
Okay.
Do you understand how the two are connected?
I do understand that. Now, I'm curious because there are times when I put my attention out and I feel that I am in communication with UFOs. And
sometimes?
At times, I've felt that there was some kind of an energy that was coming towards me to make me forget certain things.
Mostly, this is simply a rebound or an echo of the inner fears that you are expressing right now.
Okay.
Because when you send that beam out, the things that are reflected to you and the things that will stand out the most are the issues within you that you must process the strongest. If they are fear, if it is something that you may wish to forget, then forgetfulness will usually be the strongest echo that comes back.
All right.
This may seem threatening. Do not view it that way. There is nothing that any of you ever has to forget. The only reason that there is forgetting from time to time, and the only reason it may seem as if forgetting is imposed upon you from time to time, is because you are holding yourselves in check, because there are certain things that you are afraid to look at. You, in all the cases of forgotten time, missing time, forgotten episodes, forgotten interactions, each and every one of you are always sent on your way holding, firmly holding the control, the button, the string that will immediately unlock all the forgetfulness when you are ready to face what it is you have forgotten about yourselves.
Okay.
I have one key, one cue that I can share with you now. All of you. It is all right to be afraid, but you don't have to be afraid of being afraid. That's usually what stops you. It's all right to be afraid. Let yourself dive into the fear, process it, and then you will know through your feeling, through your emotionality, what it is about yourself that you have been taught to separate, to segregate, and what you can bring back and absorb and integrate within you.
Okay.
More often than not, you do not allow yourselves to feel or to be in touch with feelings that would help you integrate yourself because you are afraid of being afraid. You remove yourself 2 steps beyond the original feeling. It is all right to be afraid. You can be afraid and you can still do anything you want, even if you're afraid. Being afraid does not stop you from doing what you want. Being afraid of being afraid stops you. Understand the difference. Just being afraid about something directly does not ever stop you from doing what you want. Does that help you?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask you another question about this implant?
If you're not afraid to.
No, I'm not at all.
Oh, all right.
I actually haven't been afraid. I've been doing this now for many, many years. And
Yes.
I don't have a fear at all. I just want to, I'm curious about this implant. What is the intention of putting an implant in someone's head? Is it with the intention of getting information from us, or to
That is
put
one.
information, to give us information?
That is 2.
Does it take away our self-determinism where we're
No.
thinking? Okay.
No.
All right.
And it also keeps track.
Of what?
The person.
That's what I want to know. Why do they want to keep track of us?
Well, out of 6 billion people, it would take a while to find one if there were not a beacon somewhere.
Okay.
It is important to find the people that they have already made agreements with, they are already working with, because those people they are working with for specific reasons. You understand?
Yes.
Again, it doesn't mean that it has to happen this way. Part of the reason it is happening this way in such a clandestine fashion is because of the structure that exists in your own governments of keeping things secret. Once all of this is brought out into the open, none of this really has to happen this way. But again, the race that is doing this has their own agenda quite separate from ours, quite separate from most of the beings in the association. They are very much more a reflection of your own society than you might think.
Oh, I'm sure of that. Okay.
Does this help you?
Very much.
Thank you very much.
Now, can I ask you one more question?
No.
No? Okay. Thank you.
Next, sharing.